That evening, the remaining 3 knights discuss the defeat of Bright, but they all agree that she was the weakest among them. However, now that Gu has made herself their enemy, they all make their own preparations to eliminate her in the name of the Beauty Queen. At Ugly Gate Prison, prisoners are abused, fed little, and are forced to work by carrying huge blocks of stone. The prisoners are constantly reminded that their sin of being ugly is an incredibly grave crime. Their very births were a mistake. A young boy asks his grandfather when they can go out, but he is told that they have no choice but to remain here forever. Gu attacks Ugly Gate Prison, using the same drones that Bright once used. Gu slaughters her way through the guards, demanding that the prisoners be released at once. When the guards refuse, they are shot. Gu enters the main prison tower in hopes of releasing all the prisoners. However, before she can press the button, one of the 4 beauty knights interrupts her. He asks Gu why, despite her beauty. She insists on doing these pointless things. Clad in flowery petals, he introduces himself as Mei, one of the 4 beauty knights. He reminds Gu that the Beauty Queen has decreed it unlawful to release ugly prisoners. Thus, Gu will be judged. Gu uses the device that Bright left behind and uses it to transform her outfit into a far more beautiful and elegant dress. The entire budget of the show went to this one transition. The beauty detectors fly out of their cases and rank Gu's beauty at 5.3 stars. Mei, on the other hand, records a meager 2.5 stars. However, as the only man among the 4 beauty guards, Mei reminds her that the most beautiful creatures on Earth will always be men. Mei likewise changes her outfit to suit his needs and clads himself in an array of flowers. Despite this, his beauty rank remains below Gu's. Gu taunts his failure at first, but she is suddenly overwhelmed by a stinging stench. This is Mei's special pomelo flower, engineered to give off a disgusting aroma. Because Gu is forced to cover her nose, her beauty ranking takes a massive hit. Suddenly, she's on the back foot. Gu thinks fast, and she throws some sand into Mei's eyes. Now that he is forced to squint and scrunch up his face, his beauty drops behind Gu's. With his death about to become a certainty, Mei surrenders and begs for mercy, prompting the guns to stand down. Mei promises to follow Gu from now on, which satisfies her. Mei reveals that the Beauty Queen intends to maintain world order with an iron fist of beauty, with attractive people at the very top of the social stratum. Under this system, beautiful people will hold all the power. Cha finally catches up to make sure that Gu is okay. Gu says that she's fine, and that they'll leave as soon as she sets the ugly people free. However, before she can press the button, Cha surprisingly stops her. Gu tries to shake free from Cha's grip, reasoning that now is their best chance to let all the ugly people go. However, Cha resists, believing that it is best for the ugly people to stay locked up in their cages. Gu replies that the people were just unlucky to be born ugly and don't deserve to be treated this way. They're just ugly, she exclaims, and they have done nothing to warrant the bullying and abuse they receive. Cha snaps that there should be nothing wrong with how that works. Beautiful people, she reasons, are naturally good and correct, so there is nothing wrong with removing the ills of society. They enter a heated argument over who's wrong or who's right, which culminates in Cha begging Gu not to destroy the society that they've built thus far, believing wholeheartedly that the current status quo is the correct one. However, because of the way the beauty drones are coded, Cha's actions are viewed as disobedience, and they take aim at her. Gu warns Cha that she is about to be killed, but Cha remains adamant in her decision. If she will die for her beliefs, then so be it. Gu repeats her earlier intention to release the prisoners, and she asks Cha if she will obey her wishes. Cha stands firm. She refuses to condone it. Flashbacks of Cha pass through Gu's mind, from her abusive side as a superior to her subservient role as her maidservant. Gu reminds her that she has always obeyed her, and Cha replies that she only obeys beauty. With some of the hardest dying words in history, Cha is obliterated by the beauty drones, while Gu and Mei watch on in disbelief. Gu, angered, presses the button to release the ugly prisoners regardless. Alarm bells ring out as the cell gates slide open for the prisoners to freedom. Gu addresses them all from the courtyard, urging them all to eat what they want, do what they want, and live as they want. They are free. The entire prison erupts in thunderous applause and cheers, but things quickly take a turn for the worse. Chaos ensues as the prisoners start fighting over the food and scraps from the cafeteria. Several of them are shot into nothingness by the beauty guards. The prisoners start fighting and tearing each other apart like animals. Those who aren't immediately killed are trampled. One man, claiming to be the ugliest among them, declares himself king, and the others quickly fall in line. Gu is confused. She thought she had given them salvation. Mei explains that the ugly people know that nothing is left for them back home, so they have preferred to live amongst each other, quashing those even uglier than them. Gu is disgusted. It's not different at all from how beautiful people act. She suddenly feels a shadow of doubt. Can this world truly be changed? Mei hands Gu her portion of the emblem, which serves as the badge of office for the Beauty Knights. She tells Gu that she needs all 4 pieces to combine into a single emblem, which will grant her access to the secret room of the Beauty Queen. The answer she seeks may be hidden within. Gu requests Mei's help in gathering the remaining 2 pieces, and she resolves to change the world as they know it. 2 women on a street get into an argument, and they inevitably compete over whose beauty triumphs over the other. The Beauty Queen's aesthetic detector drones scan both women and kill the one whose beauty value is lower. At the same time, a news broadcast details Gu's latest takeover of 2 companies, the largest electric and flower companies in the country. Gu's reputation skyrockets, and she uses her platform to advocate for true beauty that isn't just skin deep. She proclaims that true beauty lies within. Her views are seen as rather strange and niche. Meng is left alone at home, with Gu leaving behind a letter claiming that she'll be going on a business trip for a while, but promising that their house will be renovated while he is away. While Gu takes a bath, she thinks about Dr. Machete and how similar her origin story is to Captain America's. Mei enters the bath and reports that he has 2 possible leads on the 2 remaining Beauty Knights. Gu wants to make sure of the details before making any rash decisions. Mei asks her if she really intends to make an enemy of the Beauty Queen, and Gu replies that she does. Her resolve is firm. She will change the world. She dismisses Mei and he obeys. Just before he leaves the room, he muses that Gu's current personality reminds him of the Beauty Queen from 3 years ago. That evening, while Gu prepares to sit down for a private dinner, she is suddenly attacked by 2 pieces of eyeliner. A new enemy approaches. A girl steps out of the shadows, introducing herself as Ying, one of the 4 Beauty Knights. Gu flips the light switch, giving her a full view of her opponent. Ying, armed with a strange box by her hip, orders Gu to surrender herself to the Beauty Queen. Gu welcomes the challenge. 3 aesthetic detectors crash through the window and immediately target Ying. However, she retrieves the box on her hip, a makeup kit, and gives herself a makeover. This is her unique ability, the use of makeup to fine-tune her own appearance at the drop of a hat. Ying is confident that she's much better looking than Gu without makeup on. That's precisely why she waited until Gu was fresh out of the shower. The drones take aim at Gu, and she attempts to have the laser beams hit Ying instead. Ying sees through her pitiful plan, and she tells her that it is useless. The drone lasers are incredibly accurate. However, this was all part of Gu's plan. She rolls underneath the table, putting herself out of view of the drones. With no one else to target, the drones point their guns at Ying. From a low angle, her appearance is that of a middle-aged man. Ying realizes that she is beaten, and she doesn't even bother to dodge. The laser strikes true, leaving nothing left but her bag and her piece of the emblem. Gu picks up the emblem piece, 1 to go. The last of the 4 Beauty Knights is almost saddened that even Ying has fallen. The Beauty Queen can no longer ignore the situation, and she demands to know who is eliminating her faithful knights. The last of the knights promises to find out more about Gu soon. A few days later, Mei informs Gu that she has found the whereabouts of the last remaining knight, Ball. Gu sets out to leave at once. They head to and walk straight through the entrance of a corporate building. Inside, the staff politely stands at attention, extending neither praise nor service. Mei finds the atmosphere slightly unnerving, and she conveys these feelings to Gu. Gu also finds it strange. When they reach the front desk, the receptionist reveals that she already knows why she is here. Ball has been expecting them. The receptionist leads them to an elevator in the lobby and instructs them to take it to the top floor, where they will meet Ball. Gu enters without any issue, but the receptionist stops Mei from entering. Ball gave strict instructions to only allow Gu through. Surprisingly, Gu instructs Mei to comply, reassuring her that this will all be over soon. Gu taps the button for the 80th floor, and Mei urges her to be careful. After what was most certainly a 10-minute ride, Gu arrives at the 80th floor. Almost immediately, the elevator behind her slams shut, and a spotlight shines on the center of the room.